Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for week 11 of the DKMR Invitational. I'm your host, Kobayashi Maru, and I'm joined tonight by a special guest caster, Disciple. I want to thank you, Disciple, for being here. Really appreciate you coming out and casting with me tonight. How's it going?
Hi, it's going great. I'm really excited to be out here.
Nice. Yeah, we got a great show for you tonight, everybody. As you know, our challenger is Meet Your Maker's Theis, and this week Theis will be competing against D2, and if he wins, then he'll be facing White Powder, two formidable DKMR pros. And as you guys know, it's been about 2 weeks since all of Naxxramas has been released, and if you watched last week, or if you missed last week, let me update you. The Hunter is dominating, and I'm really interested to see if this week the players continue to play the Hunter as they did last week, or how the players and challengers are going to deal with that, how dominant the Hunter is going to be. So let's see how it turns out this week, and if any of the decks get mixed up or mixed around, or try to sort of cope with what we've been seeing a lot, both in this tournament and on the ladder. I mean, that's what Hearthstone's all about, so I'm really excited.
Stop yelling, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. Things have been pretty tumultuous ever since Naxxramas was released. And I think just seeing kind of how people keep building decks and how people will kind of get worked up over something and then suddenly it's okay and we'll kind of move on to the next thing. But really all it does is just find this really cool metagame where everyone can kind of contribute with decks. And we had Hunter get really big, and then we have a few counters to it. I think it's still going to be really, really strong, but I think that it's not going to sweep. I don't think we're going to see like a 4-0 Hunter sweep in our best of 7. At least I'm crossing my fingers we don't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there are things that counter it. It's just difficult, but we're going to get into that in just a bit. For those of you new to the format, each week we have a new challenger take on 2 DKMR pros for a growing cash prize. We've had different challengers such as Trump, Alchemist, Ignite, Mana Grind, Z-Rusher, Tempo Storm's Rainad, Chalky, Wampy, Cloud9's ECOP. A lot of great challengers. And this week, as in every week, our first match is a best of 5. And if the challenger wins that, he gets past round 1, collects $25, and goes on to the best of 7. And the best of 7 is $75, and it grows every week that DKMR defends. So it's been 2 weeks that DKMR defended, so that prize is $150 right now. So that was reset 2 weeks ago by Caldi. So if Theis is able to take out both DKMR pros tonight, he's going to walk away with $175. So if all that happens, the best of 7 prize resets to $75 for next week. But there's another way this can turn out. This, if D2 takes out Theis in the initial match, then D2 will play against White Powder in a best of 7 for that $25. And then the best of 7 prize pool increases again, up to $225 for next week, when we have Root 6-0 coming as our next challenger. Alright, we have about 2 to 3 minutes before the games start up, and this tournament is hosted by DKMR, and so all the challengers give their deck lists to me, DKMR gives their deck lists to me alone, and I hold on to them as a third party, and then the challenger can even change all of their decks between the best of 5 and the best of 7 to completely different decks if he chooses. And all that is done before each game, whereas DKMR has to give me all their decks in advance for fairness. But I'm really excited to see both of these matches. So I do kind of hope that we get a good match, but I'm really happy for either Theis or D2 to move on as long as we have good matches, because no matter what, the best of 7 is going to be fantastic tonight.
Absolutely. I feel like DKMR brings a lot of unspoken talent to the table. Not the most well-known names individually, but as an organization. I mean, they give a lot of professionals that we have heard more about a real run for their money. Just last week, Gara wasn't able to make it past that best of 7, and Gara, one of the top players over on Tempo Storm. And so I expect a lot, even if they're not players that we necessarily hear about individually. I expect them to definitely put up a nice fight, and we might not see Theis make it through this best of 5. It's definitely going to be a challenge.
Yeah, only I think 3 challengers have beaten both DKMR pros. One of those was a really close match about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Here we will see the Rogue coming out first, and the Rogue and the Warlock. So no Hunters to be found. I think a big sigh of relief has been breathed by all.
No Hunters to be found. It is a Zoolock versus a Miracle Rogue. So Theis bringing out the Zoo, and he's got an Echoing Ooze Zoolock at that. And of course the Miracle, you can see a pretty standard set of Miracle cards. What are your thoughts about Echoing Ooze in the Zoo? We can talk about this deck as much as we want right now. Talk to me, what do you think about the Echoing Ooze in this deck?
You know, I think it was underrated when it first came out. It just has pretty solid stats. It's very, very similar to the Haunted Creeper. A little bit different in the ways that you take it out. Haunted Creeper is much more... It's much stronger against AoE effects because of the Death Rattle effect. Right. The Echoing Ooze is really nice in a deck like Zoo because of the buff effects that you can get, say, from a Defender of Argus. If you spend 6 mana to buff it up, or even just buff it up after you've already played it with a Defender, then you have these 2/2/3 taunts, which are actually fairly difficult to get through. It blocks off a lot of these one-turn kills that you get from someone like a Miracle Rogue, where Leroy and Sap and all these things just can't really break through it. I think it's going to help keep him alive, since Miracle Rogue still packs a punch even with the introduction of Loatheb. Yeah,
and you know, there are only a couple cards that permanently buff, so it's not that the Ooze is being used to add buffs necessarily, but there are so many cards that buff while it's on the board, so having 2 bodies is fantastic. And as we see the first turn, we've got an Argent Squire coming out and then weaponing up and attacking. Pretty standard first turns.
Absolutely true. And we see a pretty good hand coming out already from D2 in this Miracle Rogue. He has the draw from the Shiv. Fan of Knives is pretty strong up against a Zoo early, and he already has the Gadget Stand, so he knows he doesn't have to fish. But the early minions coming out from Zoo may become a bit overwhelming with the Direwolf Alpha in hand, since that's a lot of damage coming out already. And a Fan of Knives is a decent response, but it's not great, since most of the Zoo's creatures will have more than 1 health.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, if you look at the Rogue's hand, he does have a few of the things he needs to deal with the early game. So he's not in the worst position. As you mentioned, he doesn't need to fish to the gadgets. And the question is, can he clear consistently for 2 or 3 turns? What are you thinking are his chances at this point?
That's true. You know, I think that right now he's not entirely worried about the one-attack minions, and so he's just going to go ahead and attack and re-dagger, and what that means is that his Fan of Knives is going to be incredibly effective next turn, and he knows that. He's exactly playing for that Fan of Knives. He'll take 1 extra damage from that Echoing Ooze by not shiving it this turn, but...
Right. Unless it gets buffed, and we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, that's true. He's not afraid of any buff coming out immediately because he had the coin, and so he knows that Defender of Argus is really the only buff card that the Zoo will have for it. Except for a
Direwolf, right?
Direwolf,
yeah.
Right.
So I think he's going to go with the plan you just mentioned, attack the 1/2 Ooze and then Fan of Knives, or Fan of Knives and attack, either or.
And he's feeling pretty good. He has a bit of health. He's drawn some cards. He doesn't have to worry too quickly, except for maybe when this Direwolf Alpha comes in, starts to push some more damage, has the effective 4 attack coming out from that buff, as well as the Nerubian Egg, which I think is going to be a really, really nice draw here.
Yeah, I prefer the Nerubian over the Direwolf at this point. That'll really get value on the egg next turn.
Yeah, very true, very true. Saving the Direwolf Alpha for next turn also enables a potential free Soulfire, depending on the mana cost of the card he draws, will be really nice. We do have the Gadget and Conceal combo drawn out right now, which is going to make really any Miracle Rogue just feel a lot safer about their position.
Yep, and that'll be next 2 turns from now, unless he draws a prep.
Right, absolutely. Really nice draws.
Oh man, yep. Tice is gonna, and he draws another 1-drop. Could you ask for anything better? Oh, he chooses to tap. Interesting. Okay. I might have.
Right now, he doesn't want to Soulfire the face right now because he's not looking to necessarily race this rogue when he could Soulfire an Earthring Farseer, a potential, I don't know, even we see some pretty healthy minions there that he'd never want to Soulfire, like
Azure
Sludge
Drake,
Belcher,
perhaps.
Or Azure Drake. Yeah, you're totally right. So I think saving that right now is the good call. You also get to save the attack buff from the Abusive Sergeant, so he's playing much more reactively by keeping those in his hand.
Yeah. So we've got this turn 5, and I don't know if I really like just bringing down the gadgets. The Drake. I feel like you might want to, be a little more active on the board. It's getting a little scary out there.
A little bit. He knows he still has at least 2 more turns before he has to really worry about dying. No Doomguard seen yet.
Sludge. Yeah.
Still some nice burst. And yeah,
the
you know what?
sludge.
That's hard to break through.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to summon the Nerubian now if he wants. There is an Eviscerate in hand for it.
And
so
he can
of course,
play everything
D2
here. He
doesn't
can play the
answer.
Dark Iron, both Sergeant, and then the Soulfire.
All right, and yeah, if we have both, if we have 2 buffs on the Nerubian Egg, it'll trade really well into Sludge Belcher. He will make the Nerubian, and then he's going to feel pretty confident. Of course, he doesn't know that he's going up against some pretty good answers with the Deadly Poison, with the Eviscerate. Don't know that we'll actually see the Gadgetzan Auctioneer this turn. He might spend the turn reacting to what's a pretty large threat.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay, so he's actually choosing to trade in with the Haunted Creeper, and packing quite a bit of attack onto it. Oh, all right. So he's going for face. He's going for face. He's realized now it's a race, and he's ready to go. That's going to be one scary spider. I think Ron Weasley would be absolutely terrified out of his mind. There's a couple ways this plays around really well. One is that he can be pretty confident that there's not a second Fan of Knives. If D2 is running 2 Fan of Knives in his deck, it's pretty unlikely that he has them in the first 10 or 11 cards. And double Eviscerate could come out, but it's not super likely. It's not a really great way that a rogue wants to spend their time. And now he's down on 10 health, which is where he really has to be worried. He doesn't have a taunt in his hand either, and he has to seriously be worried about his health right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure if we would see that aggressive of a move out of the zoo, but I think it was the right decision. And so right now we'll see the Sap on the Nerubian, which is just such a reactive play from a Miracle Rogue that it doesn't prepare him to win. Usually you want to save Sap for a stickier taunt to make room for your combo. It does stop quite a bit of damage, but right now it's not solving his big problem that he doesn't have very much health at all.
Yeah, I mean, like 10 health, despite having a fantastic bunch of cards to play, he's really in trouble at this point.
Definitely, and it goes to show that Miracle Rogue is a rather slow deck. If you have the really great answers like Backstab, like Eviscerate, it can keep up and just stem off some early aggression until you can get your Gadgetzan Auctioneer out. But currently, we're seeing maybe one of its weaknesses, that if you don't get that draw, then a Gadgetzan Auctioneer is just too heavy to really play out. And so he's going on a fishing expedition right now, and we will see a very desperate attempt to try and keep off all of this damage, but I don't think that it's going to be enough. He is drawing into the preparations, which is absolutely fantastic for him, and it's not quite enough.
Nope. Tice takes game number 1. Taking out D2 with a very strong, aggressive Zoolock. So, let's see, D2's got a couple other decks here. As you might expect, there is a Hunter he could choose from.
Right.
Also a Shaman. So...
Right, Hunter tends to have a pretty good matchup against Zoo. Shaman as well, with the absolute devastating strength of a Lightning Storm. And I think
if you draw, yeah.
Yeah, if you draw. That's definitely important, and that's a big part of these card games, which is why we're running best of 5s and best of 7s, and not just throwing them into a best of 1 and kind of relying on a coin flip. So like we saw, Miracle, didn't have the best draws. If he had earlier the Backstab Eviscerates, he might have been able to keep off some of those heavier minions, but he will opt for the Hunter, because the combo with the Starving Buzzard, Unleash the Hounds on a pretty full zoo board can really turn the game. Traps as well, like Freezing Trap and Explosive, both very strong against the Zoo to set him back, to clear his board, and to keep yourself alive for those bigger, stickier minions. He's running Stranglethorn Tiger here, and clearly going to be running the Savannah Highmane as well to put on pressure into that mid-game.
Mm-hmm. You've got the traps here, Freezing and Explosive, the Unleash. Interesting start.
A pretty good start. He would love to have a bow. Flare is going to be awesome turn 1 to go ahead and cycle, since he's not going to be too worried about those Warlock secrets. And honestly, this hand full of traps and just spells in general isn't quite what he was searching for. Of course, we're going to see a good start from Zoo, because it's almost impossible to have a bad one. The Echoing Goose coming out immediately, since he has some buffs for it already. He can't combo it right now with a Shattered Sun Cleric, but he doesn't need to. You don't have to wait for the supreme value, since you can just throw out some hardy 1/2s right now. Goldshire Footmen, as it were, but hey, you get 2 of them.
Yeah, and he'll be able to buff those moving forward with something like the Cleric or the Abusive Sergeant. So I think it's a pretty smart play. And he does draw, D2 does draw into the bow. So that's going to be nice with all these traps. He can lay a trap as well as the bow in a few turns, and that'll allow him to get a lot of value and maybe stave off some of this damage.
Absolutely true. The bow is going to be really important when comboed with the traps to just get a lot of charges out, which equals a lot of damage onto the face. Right now, Explosive Trap isn't going to be his best bet, though, because it does activate that Nerubian Egg. The freezing isn't a great choice either, so what he might have to do is play the Explosive, wait for the Nerubian to pop, and then hope the Nerubian gets sent back to the hand from the freezing trap.
Yeah.
He does have the combo now. The combo is really what he needed, the Unleash the Hounds plus the Starving Buzzard. So once we reach that turn 5, he will be able to draw through almost all of his deck. It feels very reminiscent of Miracle Rogue in that aspect, which did just get taken down, but fortunately this is a little bit more responsive to a large board like Zoo. And
with the Unleash Buzzard combo, it might be worth considering the Explosive Trap. You will have a 4/4 to deal with, but yeah, he agrees. He does put down that Explosive Trap, which will clear a significant amount of this board, and then he can, with the Buzzard Unleash, take care of that 4/4.
Right, absolutely. He'll have his bow. He might be able to draw into the Hunter's Mark as well, and there's pretty much no better Hunter's Mark against a Zoo than the 4/4, unless you can happen to get on the Doomguard. You usually don't plan for it, though. He can use his bow if he isn't lucky enough to draw in, even though he will be drawing through the majority of his deck.
Would you ever Mortal Coil your own minion here before that 2/1 that was going to die?
I think the 1 damage is going to be important enough against someone like a Hunter if you have the chance to take out their Starving Buzzard. I would say it's important enough. I think there are definitely some matchups, like against a Control Warrior, where drawing a card is going to be so much more important than dealing a damage to anything they have.
That makes a lot of sense. So here we go. We've got the Buzzard Unleash, and let's see if he draws into a Hunter's Mark, because that's what he's really hoping for, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Hunter has to make some really hard decisions, like, do I combo now? Yeah, I combo now.
Okay, he doesn't get anything useful at this point, so he's going to have to deal with this as is. Weapon +1 will get rid of the 4/1, the 4/4, and then he can get rid of the Cleric as well, and the 1/1. Not bad. Clears almost all of the board. That, I think, was very successful because he redrew his hand.
Yeah, absolutely. You can say that pretty much any turn 5 combo is good if you draw more than 2 cards. And right there, drawing through a large part of his deck. He didn't get the exact card he's looking for, but he has some really strong turns coming out here. And Zoo can run out of steam, unless he has some really good responses like that Mortal Coil on the enemy Starving Buzzard, which we did talk about just a couple turns ago. Now with some powerful taunt coming out, I think that our Zoo still feels pretty good. He's still going to be pounding on with some damage, going to face, feeling safe from a little bit here. I'm not sure. We probably just see the Savannah Highmane. Yeah,
you're going to really need to push out some power at this point. There could be an option for a few traps. Lothab, interesting. Lothab, I don't know. I don't know if what would you put Lothab in there to prevent a Soulfire? What else would you be trying to prevent with the Lothab?
Yeah, Lothab's really good at sticking around for a turn. It's also really good at dying to Doomguard, or getting taken out by any number of Zoo buffs. He will go ahead and throw it out, and it is a great play against this enemy Soulfire. However, we might just see the Doomguard come out since it's not throwing away too much, and it's such a nice trade. We also could, if we see another attack buff, see he has Dark Iron Dwarf and Abusive Sergeant.
Yep, that'll totally clear the...
Yeah, they basically come with a Soulfire attached if he wants to throw his Defender of Argus in.
Yep, that's going down. And then that'll give him the possibility for using Doomguard for a significant amount of value without losing too many cards next turn if he draws anything with 2 mana or less.
Right. Of course, in my mind, I'm just thinking trade, trade, trade because I am very value-minded. But of course, he's a Zoo player, so he's thinking face, 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 bringing his opponent down to 8 health. Not too worried about his current state. Playing a Zoo at 24 on turn 6 is a place you're very comfortable to be in.
And that's scary, right? That's incredibly scary for the Hunter.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
He does
have some nice trades.
He doesn't run any taunts. He's got no way of preventing damage except for his traps.
And Houndmaster likely. I don't know if it's...
Oh, he does have Houndmaster. That's right.
Okay. And that's going to be his one out, but he has to draw into it, and it looks like he's not going to be that lucky. Freezing Trap's going to be really nice here to keep him alive just a little bit longer, and I think he needs it. Unless he gets another very, very lucky answer.
Okay. Freezing Trap makes sense here.
Mm-hmm. And so that's going to keep the Doom Guard away from his board, which is very smart. He clears the board. He knows he doesn't want to send back either of those because they have very, very beneficial battle cries.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's actually a really, really nice spot to be on.
Well,
because
he's gonna have to use. That's really brutal. He can't play the Doom Guard here. I mean, he's gonna play it, but it's gonna get put right back in his hand.
Right. He doesn't have a better way. He might tap and look for a slightly better card to try and get rid of that Freezing Trap with, but as long as Hunter can continue to trade and keep those minions down, this could really lock up that Doom Guard. Because Doom Guard can't come out twice in one turn. It'll get knocked back to the hand, cost 7 mana, and be pretty brutal. And so, man, are we going to see it come out anyway and just hope that he can play it out in another turn?
Yeah, it looks like D2 is playing this perfectly, as well as you can, being down to 6 health, you know? Like, he's really limited his opponent's options. And you can tell that Thijs is thinking this through. He realizes that Freezing Trap makes the most sense here.
Yeah, absolutely true. It stops so much, and because of that really, really efficient clear he got with the bow and with that Loetheb, he was able to keep it off, and that's why I was a little unsure about going to face a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
It did bring him down to 8, but it also put him in a really vulnerable spot where Loetheb could trade incredibly well.
He's considering soul firing the face. Okay, gets a juggler. Now he can play juggler, minion, and then soulfire. But wow, that's so interesting. Okay, so he's gonna drop the Doom Guard now that he doesn't, and he's gonna go face, and it's gonna get picked up, and now back in his hand, and he will have lethal next turn unless a taunt comes down. That's an interesting play. He took a risk, bearing in mind that even with that trap, unless a taunt comes out, lethal next turn for sure.
Well, and there's another Freezing Trap.
Yes.
So he doesn't know that, of course, that D2 has all the answers. But right now, he rolls the Misha as well, and even though he's sitting at 2 health, the only thing that he could die to right now is a top deck Soulfire, and we'll see. We'll see. I might need Admiral here with us.
Yeah, for some huge draws.
Let's see it, because that's the only way he wins this game.
Flame Imp ain't gonna do it.
Not quite. He's tapping for sure.
Let's see. He's definitely tapping. Double Flame Imp. Well, that is going to call GG. Can't even play one of them, but he's going to play both of them. He's going to quit. And a huge no draw coming out. So D2 takes game number 2 and making it 1-1. Really nicely done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no one's too surprised that Hunter was able to take a game, especially off of Zoo. But now's where it gets interesting. Now we have our Hunter, kind of the reigning champion of current Hearthstone tournament play, and now we get to see the response to it.
Yeah,
and we get to see if
go ahead. I was going to say responses to. Yeah, I was going to say he knows it's a Hunter, so he's able to make a precise response.
And
it's a Hunter.
The best response to Hunter, as anyone will be able to say, is Hunter.
If you can't beat him, join him, right?
Yeah, you have the flares, and you know, kind of the only counter to secrets in the game is possessed by the best class to run secrets with. And so he keeps the flare immediately. On the other side, there's a double web spinner. Some amazing, amazing turn ones for both of these, which means it's going to be a really, really interesting game.
So D2's running Loetheb's 2 Stranglethorn Tigers and 1 Highmane. Thijs is running Loetheb, 2 Highmanes, Leroy, Houndmaster. So, in fact, it's slightly different variations on the Hunter.
The double Savannah Highmane Leroy is much more typical from what I've seen. I haven't seen too much of the Stranglethorn Tiger. What's really nice about Stranglethorn Tiger is, of course, the first turn you play it out, it can't be touched. Yeah, kind of similar to the Shade of Naxxramas almost. And then you come out, you can even taunt it up and pop out for quite a bit of damage. And
it does really well versus Miracle Rogue, you know, because they want to clear, they don't want to take the damage.
Right, they want to sap or eviscerate, and it's pretty difficult to do either of those there.
Yeah.
This double web spinner right now is going to give a ton of value. We'll see. Maybe it might just be the Young Dragon Hawk.
So we get a little bit of the Huffer action here. So it will get to be cleared for 2 beasts, which you're going to want to do at this point.
Yeah. The worst beast he could have ruled, especially with that Timberwolf to come out, applying some early pressure.
Captain's Parrot.
Oh man, that's what he was looking for. The 2-mana Wisp. All right. At least there's beast synergy on it.
Yeah, there is beast synergy, but there's beast synergy on anything you get from a web spinner.
Yeah. I guess I can't quite equate it to a Wisp, but that's kind of how it feels, since it's not doing too much for him right now. If only he were running, maybe a Dread Corsair or something.
I know. Captain's Parrot making the chicken look beast, Making that angry chicken look beast. Oh, flares out the trap. Really nice move. And he's going to be able to go to face with all this stuff if he wants.
He's applying a lot of early pressure. He has to be careful up against an Unleash the Hounds right now, but we haven't reached our Unleash the Hounds turn yet, so he feels kind of luxurious for a turn, knowing that he can throw out as many minions as he wants. He's still going to go for the clear, of course, because letting your opponent draw 4 more cards from Unleash the Hounds could be an instant lose.
Also, you don't want him to have a beast working with kill command. You want to force him to play a beast.
Right, absolutely. And now looking at this draw from the web spinner, we have King Muckle coming in. Not a great card to play here either. When your opponent has board control, King Muckle is probably one of the worst drops you can make.
You can flare here, but you do generally want to save that for a trap. I'm thinking Hunter's Mark, but he doesn't have anything to attack with it, so he is going to flare, and he draws an Unleash. He can Unleash Hunter's Mark, get rid of Misha. I mean, it's not ideal. You want to save it with the Buzzard, but can he take the damage? Can he afford to take the damage? What do you think?
I think it's his choice. I think there's definitely merit to just going for the Unleash. That's the safest play, but I wouldn't say it's the winning play,
right?
Because you throw away a lot of draw, and so he's going to go for the play that probably brings him closer to winning, and it's going to come back to bite him here with the Scavenging Hyena drawn from the web spinner. That's definitely going to get some value here with
and
a board
bunch of bananas coming out, or at least one banana, I should say.
Oh, absolutely bananas, man. Captain's Parrot, may he rest in pieces.
Yeah,
but
he did good work. He did good work. He served his community.
He did. Very true. Maybe a little expensive for 2 mana, but still. There's a really, really nice Unleash the Hounds. He's in a rough spot. He wants to draw a second Hunter's Mark because that Scavenging Hyena is going to get huge.
Yep, and he does not. No.
Ouch. He can't get rid of Misha, but he's not feeling too happy.
And he can actually use all of his hounds to get rid of the Buzzard now. It's going to be a 6/4, right? Yeah. Well, no,
he has 3.
Now. He's got 3, so that's that.
Right. He's up against a 7/4 right now. That's can only get bigger, and he doesn't have a way to deal with it. He has the freezing trap, but unless he can clear out all the rest of his opponent's beasts, he doesn't have much. Oh wait. Oh, of course. I wasn't looking at the opponent's hand. He has Leroy. He wins. I was too busy focusing on, man, how can he win from now? No, he doesn't.
All right. So Tice taking game number 3, bringing the series 2-1 in favor of our challenger. Very fast Hunter games.
All right. I mean, you can say Hunter is the best way to beat Hunter, but you can't really be sure which Hunter wins. He made the rule that his was a little bit stronger, and I think it definitely paid off here. Running the Hunter without tracking, just with the double flare, with the traps bow, I think pretty standard, kind of coming out from Reynad, is incredibly strong. And there's the Shaman you were talking about.
This is gonna be tough. Shaman's weakest matchup has always been Hunter. And I play it significantly. Even now, it's still pretty weak to Hunter. Although there are some good cards to deal with it. You really do like that Feral. You do want the Flame Tongue because you are in a race because you don't have any healing. He does have 2 Defenders, 2 Unbound Elementals, 1 Lightning Storm, so he can clear 1 Unleash. He's got a Bloodlust, Alakir, Lotheb. So he has a good tool set to deal with this Hunter, but he really has to be careful about taking any damage because he can't heal.
Okay, that's what I'm super interested in is this Bloodlust, since a lot of Shaman decks aren't running it. But what that means is if you sneak in a single copy of it, your enemy's not expecting it. Correct. You can play out a few totems, your enemy Hunter thinks, haha, look at all the hounds I'm going to summon, and then you come out with a huge Bloodlust and end the game in a turn. That could be what he's going for, a bit of a surprise
factor. It could be, but it could also backfire, because with a board control approach, going against Hunter's pretty bad. The Hunter's got 2 Echoing Oozes, 2 Flame Tongues, 2 Nerubian Eggs, and we see here up to 4 Feral Spirits, 2 of them coming down right now. So, but that's a really nice start. You're going to prevent any significant damage on your face. And most things will die to the feral. Misha will not die to the feral. But you can always use your rock biter on it, which I would probably do in this turn, as he agrees.
Yeah, if you can keep those beasts down, it's kind of always going to be your best bet. You also trade off a feral spirit. It's nice to have the taunt, but it's also not nice to give doggies to your opponent, as we've seen very, very often. Yeah. And so clearing the board up against the hunter is really important, but you do have to get that pressure on. Right now, his hand isn't looking like it. Azure Drakes are something you want to draw when you're in a top-decking scenario, most likely. It's not necessarily something you want to throw down on turn 5 against a hunter who's already applying some
Drake's not great in this matchup. You really need to be much faster with the damage and much more protective of your own health. But he's got another feral. The Hex is very important because there's no overload. He's got also a Earth Shock to deal with this spider. So he's got a significant amount of good cards.
Very true, very true. He has the nice answers. He can Earth Shock it and trade on, and that'll keep the spiders from coming out.
Or he can go face and force it to trade, but he'll trade. I generally trade here. You want to play safe against the hunter. But he will shortly start to attack if an Unleash doesn't come, but it's going to come out right on this turn, I would imagine. You can Buzzard Unleash here.
Yeah, if you can draw 3 cards, you pretty much don't have another choice. Kind of the decision-making process of playing a hunter.
It's going to go with the Panther.
Well,
Jungle Panther, which he drew from the spider, which is fine. Push 2 more points of damage. Next turn will be the Unleash, though.
Right, I totally agree with you, unless I'm making it wrong again. What he can do is just let this Shaman overextend a little bit. He could play out the Flame Tongue Totem for a bit of damage. He definitely doesn't want to hero power here. That's just another dog without too much of an impact.
The only time you want to hero power is when you know you don't have a lot on the board and you're going to play your defender on the very next turn. And that's not going to happen here because he's got plenty of taunt, so he doesn't need to make new taunt. So he's going to go for the extra damage. It is a race, but this is going to make a very strong Unleash. So I think this is going to work out for the hunter.
Yeah, there it is. It came a turn later, so actually I was wrong. But he was a little patient. It paid off with not only a really nice stealthed up Jungle Panther, but an extra card to draw.
Tice is like, he's massaging his deck to hope for that Hunter's Mark. He does not get it. No Hunter Mark draws on any of our Unleashes today.
That's harsh. He still does have board clear, but he can't get rid of the Flame Tongue Totem quite yet.
That's okay. What are you going to do? Put on another totem and then taunt it up with the defender? You'd rather use the Nerubian. So he's probably going to play the Nerubian and defender them both. That'll allow a 4/4 to come out. And then he can use the 0/3 to clear the Buzzard, which you have to do. Very solid Shaman play, despite losing most of his board.
Yeah, if you leave the Buzzard up for more than a turn, then you probably lose the game.
Yeah.
But he's, of course, just seeing the easy play, keeping the board safe. And, I guess I was a little bit too light with my tongue about the face rolling nature of the hunters, because he's not drawing into those hunters' marks. They are hiding in the bottom half of his deck. Even though he's had some massive draws, he's not guaranteed the win yet. He still has some pretty big taunts to get through, and there's still more taunts to come. Now he's feeling a little bit more safe for the hero power because he knows that's one combo down, and there's without a Buzzard in the enemy hand, the Unleash becomes significantly less value.
But he's probably, I mean, you're going to want to see what you draw with that Drake, which will most likely come out next turn, unless you're hexing something. So it depends on what gets put down here. There's nothing wrong with a deadly shot. Anything you hit's going to be fine. In this case, I mean, the only thing you have to be scared of is if you deadly shot the egg, in which case you're going to be a little bit susceptible, but you can't put down the freezing trap. So it's a little dangerous. I like Hunter's Mark, I like Houndmaster on the spider. That's a really solid move.
It's the most safe, consistent play. I think Deadly Shot was far too YOLO for that. If you took out the Nerubian egg.
Azure Drake into a 2 damage Earth Shock will completely clear the spider. And now with the rest of his minions, he can get rid of the Houndmaster and bring out a 4/4.
The thing is, you don't take out the Handmaster. You don't have a reason to. It's not a beast. You can leave it on the board. You can't trade efficiently into it because you don't want to overspend that much. Well,
see, I like him trading there. I really think that's what I would have done too, because you're getting a position where you're getting control of the board and you're losing your least important minion on that board because he doesn't have taunt.
Okay, all right. I can totally see both plays. Since leaving the Houndmaster on the board isn't terrifying, It is nice to leave this Flame Tongue totem up right now.
Right.
Usually you don't expect it to last so long with taunt, but
now
it's been doing a pretty good job.
Exactly. The egg's a 3/3 instead of a 1/3 now that he cleared the defender in the middle. So I think that was a really heads-up play there, but I could see leaving it and going for damage because it's a race. Question is, will the Shaman pull enough damage to clear this? The Hunter has so many cards. I mean, do we see
If we take a look, we could
thinking
see
another
Unleash, Kill Command, and Scavenging Hyena. He unleashes, takes out the Flame Tongue, KC's the Azure Drake, and then he has a big ol' Hyena. He can leave the Nerubian Egg for now, and then deal with it next turn.
Well, it looks like he's not going to scavenge. Maybe a trap?
Okay.
I like the trap. That Nerubian's going back to the hand. That's a big pain in the butt. You really aren't getting the value you want.
All right. Yeah, very true. Very true. I think there were two plays there, and this one is much safer, which a lot of times you need to take against a deck that can come out with a lot of burst damage. He is running Alec here, and the Rockbiter as well.
Wow, draws into his Storm, which he's not going to need because we're not going to see a lot of minions flood the board just yet. Although they could on this turn. There could be a 9-mana board flood. That would include Houndmaster, Hyena, and then whatever he draws. Oh, he gets a bow. So, I like bow, Houndmaster, and then you can use the Deadly Shot if you like.
Right. Yeah, you could use a Deadly Shot to take out the Azure Drake.
Yep.
What's really dangerous about leaving the Azure Drake is that'll probably be one of the best Lightning Storms you could come out with, just clearing those 2 minions.
But if you drop the weapon, attack the ooze, you Houndmaster the dog, and kill the other ooze, your Deadly Shot's not going to miss the mark here.
Yeah. That seems like a very sound play. It leaves your board quite healthy. It leaves you with a 3/1 weapon as well.
Oh wait, he's 1 mana shy. Excuse my poor math.
All right, I've been taking too many lessons from Amaz. I apologize to everyone as well.
Yeah.
One plus.
The Amaz math is strong with me tonight. Okay, so I do like the freezing trap because you're going to be able to put the Drake back in the hand again, which is fine. You just want to keep pushing damage, or you can hero power. But I think I'd prefer the trap in this case.
Right, I think pushing damage here.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with this play as well. So this might be the best Lightning Storm he has.
Yeah, this is a really good Lightning Storm. You can also use a Lightning Bolt. There's no reason not to bring down the... Yes, exactly. No reason not to bring down the Blood Mage here. You've got plenty of mana. You're going to then be able to bring down the... the Nerubian's now 4. So no, you'll only be able to Storm. Okay. I wouldn't have totemed then. I would have Nerubianed instead of that totem. That totem does nothing.
That's true. At the moment,
he doesn't attack because he knows it's going to be a freezing trap. So,
Ooh, and right now, our Hunter.
Look at him rolling the RNG.
Ooh, he's pointing towards the Azure
gets the
Drake.
Blood Mage. That is not a hit. That is not a hit, sir.
I respect that. I respect that so highly. You know what? When you just put all your cares to the wind, sometimes you throw it to the RNG gods. They didn't reward him here.
Yeah.
You know what it did do? It did keep it from getting kicked back into his hand. It was a much better target than the healing totem.
For sure.
So, it was a 50-50.
I do still like the Nerubian, though, because if that dies, the Nerubian brings out a 4/4. I still think the Nerubian was a way better play last turn than that totem. But we're now going to have a significant amount of damage. The secret gets procced, and I think you do want to... Well, you've got a totem, a taunt totem. You could very well go face here, but it's safer to clear, because that Hyena can get big. I think, yep, he's going to go face.
There's no Unleash. There's no Unleash, so there's nothing to play around here.
Yeah, it's time to go face. You're right, the second Unleash is used. You really need to get this game over as quickly as possible. He's going to have a 4 damage Lightning Bolt next turn at the very least. Oh, okay, it's going to be an expensive Lightning Bolt, but I still think he's got the mana to clear here. Oh, okay. 4, 8.
It's still not at lethal.
He needs 3 more points of damage. Okay, Alec here, that's it.
I found that.
He's 1 away. He's actually 1 away from lethal here. This will be 10 damage, but he's got a gigantic Taunter on board. I think this is...
you go for it. Hunter's not going to heal himself.
No, and he's not going to clear this. And certainly anything he's going to do, you have a lightning bolt that's 1 mana next turn. You got to go face.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to worry about the Scavenging Hyena.
Oh my god, the Shaman taking out the Hunter. D2 showing the Shaman can do work against its weakest matchup. Look at this.
I like it. You know, I like to see Hunter brought to its knees. And what it really goes to show you is that this is very much a game of draws.
Yeah.
He didn't get exactly the cards he needed. You have no reason to leave Roy.
Oh, he takes out the Nerubian out of spite. He knows it's over. GG. We're on to a game 5. What do you think of that, Disciple?
He didn't know his opponent had a Lightning Storm, and he could have cleared the board. So that was the lazy way out.
Yeah.
He could have held out for one more turn and waited to see Lightning Storm because you don't know your opponent's hand. But he wasn't in a great spot at only 1 health. So we are going to see the game 5, and hey, that's what we always love to see. Hunter has been brought down on both sides, and so now we get to see what faces off against the Shaman. Since Shaman is really interesting in that it doesn't fit a lot of the deck archetypes of heavy aggro or heavy control. It's very mid-rangey in aspect, has some nice answers, has some nice aggression, but you know, doesn't fit into a lot of other deck archetypes.
Let me tell you a little bit about our next matchup. It is going to be that very Shaman versus, oh yeah, Paladin.
Ooh, reporting for booty.
Reporting for booty, that's right. Paladin does, these healing Paladins do very well versus Shaman. But when the Shaman can get a significant amount of damage in the early game and rush the Paladin down, it is possible to get out that combo. This Paladin is running Lothab. It is running Harrison Jones and a Spellbreaker for good measure.
Okay, Spellbreaker is a very interesting card that we don't see too often. We usually see the Ironbeak Owl just because for a very similar effect it is much cheaper, but you do end up with a 4/3 on the board.
Okay,
nice.
Everything's got to go in this hand.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
horrible for the Paladin.
That's not a hand you keep.
And I don't really think you want the Doomhammer. I usually keep the Rockbiter, but okay, I can understand getting rid of it in this matchup. You don't need to worry about significant amount of aggression early. Let's see if he can draw something better. Lightning Bolt's better. Earth Shock is fantastic. Really good draws. I didn't see what our challenger had. Ooh, look at that. We have a Taz Dingo, a nice 4/2 weapon, and he picks up a Gnomish Inventor alongside. Really nice. These are good hands for both players. This is going to be a great game.
Absolutely. Yeah, a little slow early where I think we're going to see this harvest. No.
It's going to simmer.
Dude.
It's going to simmer, and then it's going to get real. Because this matchup, I got to give the advantage to the Paladin, though I am rooting for the Shaman.
I agree with you. Paladin's combination of really efficient board clears with quality with Consecrates, as well as their incredibly powerful late game with Lay on Hands and with Tyrion Forging. We just saw a huge number of legendaries come up in the opening hand. But I think that if they can stem Shaman's aggression, that Shaman's late game just doesn't hold a candle. He's going to want to try and save a Hex or even just an Earth Shock for Tyrion, but if he can't do it, then Tyrion can just end the game
It's
himself.
over. It's game ending if you don't save something for him. Taz Dingo coming down is the perfect response with that coin because it's going to perfectly clear one of those ferals. But now with the Flame Tongue, it will die itself to the 1/1 totem, which will now be a 3/1. And you got to go face here. No reason not to. These Paladin doesn't run a whole lot of buffs for the dude.
In Arena, you're afraid of Blessing and Kings, but in most Constructed, there aren't too many buffs coming out except for some new kind of Undertaker aggressive style decks.
Yeah.
He knows he's not too afraid of that in basic control Paladin. Doesn't get a lot from his little 1/1 dudes except for some satisfying little 1 health kills.
Now, this is a matchup where the Bloodlust is going to shine. If you get a strong board, it's really hard to finish that Paladin off, but if you Bloodlust or you get an Alakir Rockbiter combo, this leaves you a variety of ways, but Bloodlust happens on turn 5, 6, or 7. Alakir's not coming out till like 9. So you really can, with this deck, if you get a decent board presence that doesn't get removed completely, wipe this Paladin out.
Right. I'm not sure we're gonna see it, but hey, that's probably his win condition.
Yes.
It's tricky. It's tricky, but it's definitely possible. We're kind of just seeing some some pretty light and easy play from both sides. Shaman is starting to apply some pressure, but there's just such good responses from this control.
Taking a significant amount of damage by hitting the Drake, not the Flame Tongue Totem. This is going to actually fall right into D2's hands with a significant amount of minions. He is going to have a chance to push for lethal. Absolutely. Right now he can bring down the Fire Elemental to get rid of the Golem, or he can bring down a Lightning Bolt and some Ferals, or Lightning Bolt and a Storm to clear everything. I like the Fire Elemental. You really want to push for damage and force him to use his Peacekeepers and bring out his stuff here.
The issue with throwing out the Fire Elemental is that if there is a Peacekeeper, the Fire Elemental is basically the biggest thing that's ever going to get Peacekeepered. And throwing that down to a 1/5, or in this case a 3/5 with the Flame Tongue.
But you can Earth Shock your Fire Elemental, giving them a nice little surprise. And with the amount of damage you have here, 19 plus, it would be significant enough that it'd be worth considering. So let's see what happens here.
You can also the rules.
You can also Lightning Storm here, so you can do a lot of things. Feral with a Lightning Storm and an Earth Shock to go for face. That is a fantastic turn. Save the Hex, though, for the Tyrion.
Alright, I agree with you. It does put you very high. Earthshock first to keep him from drawing any cards.
Yep, I like that. If he's gonna not Earthshock his own minion, you definitely prevent the card draw now that there is a Acolyte out.
Ooh, man. The RNG gods were with him, taking out that Elder Peacekeeper as well.
Yep.
And now, if he draws this Bloodlust, the Paladin's in danger. If not, he's a little short on damage for the time being.
Yeah, that's 14 damage. No, actually, if he draws, if not next turn because of his Overload, but with Bloodlust and those Lightning Bolts, that would be game over. You're going to have to Hex here because the only thing scared... Actually, you could push for damage. Next turn is Alakir for 12. Push for damage. Oh, I would hit face first, then Hex. Next turn Alakir for 12 because you got to get him to 12.
But Sludge Belcher is, I mean, any taunt really you have to worry about. Sunwalker, Sludge Belcher, Tyrion, all pretty common control Paladin taunts that are pretty hard for Alakir to peg through. And so if you push for damage, or you waste that Hex right now.
I'm
not sure exactly what you do.
You can trade everything. You can trade the whole board. I don't like it, though. Okay, he's going to push for damage. I really think this is not the worst play in the world. He will literally, unless a taunt comes down, or a significant amount of healing, he will be dead next turn. Although, actually, if you clear the entire board, then you're one away from lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. He has Sludge Belcher. Sludge Belcher is rough to get through, and I think that's probably the safest play here. He could lay on hands himself right now, but laying on hands without a taunt or a good way to maintain board control already can be pretty weak. Just stalls the game out for a turn, but doesn't put you in a better position by any means. I think Sludge Belcher puts down a big body on the field, and if you look at what the opponent has right now, if they throw everything into you, they still don't kill it.
Yep, I like it. I really like this. Alakir would clear it, and then one of the other minions would clear, then you'd have 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so you would get him down to 9, but then you'd be able to heal up. I think it's back to clearing the board again. You have a second Hex. You can now use your Hex on the Sylvanas, which I think is preferable to using it on the Belcher. Let's see if D2 agrees.
I think you Hex Belcher.
Yeah.
You run
everything in.
You run Flame Tongue in, and then you run your other 2 into Sylvanas. You do give him a totem, but you do. I think
actually,
that's probably...
you can run your totem into the other totem then, and give him nothing.
Well, you need to kill the Sylvanas.
Oh, that's right. You do. You can use a Lightning Bolt.
And
he's got plenty of mana.
The dude. That's
okay.
True.
So if you're, well, actually no. If you're using your Hex, then you don't need to worry about the totem. You can just use your Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I think. You know, he's got so many plays here, and he's in such a good spot. So he's gonna Hex the Belcher. Okay. And he's gonna go
Lightning
for the face. Double Lightning Bolt to the face. Rock Biter. That's gonna call the game because he's got so much damage. Look at that. We missed lethal.
Wait a minute. Okay, if it took him that long to count it, then we are free from blame here. He didn't see it immediately either, you guys. He didn't see it immediately either.
D2 takes a surprising and fast victory versus the Paladin. That was 6 damage from the bolt, another 3 from the Rock Biter. That's 9, plus 4 from the board. That is a significant amount of damage with that Hex down. Really nicely done. All
right, Kobayashi. So we're in agreement that we didn't call lethal because we were building suspense for the big ending, right?
Yes. Oh no. We didn't miss lethal. That was trying to give a better show.
We were letting him find it himself. We were letting him make the decision. We didn't want to call lethal and see him miss it and make him feel bad. And so, of course, that was an informed decision we made together telepathically.
Yes. Looks like we're about to go here, so get hyped, get excited, get on Twitter, let them know what's going on here. We have D2 who just beat Tice, the 9-time King of the Hill champion, was not stoppable. And D2, who is a really well-known pro in the pro community, maybe everyone out there doesn't know him so much, give him a shout-out on Twitter. Say, good job taking out Tice, showing us good games, beating a Hunter with a Shaman, taking out a Paladin with a Shaman. He deserves our respect, and he's going to take on White Powder. Now, if he takes out Powder, I got to tell you, if D2 takes out Powder, you are going to see some real excitement from me. I'm going to hit the roof. Because these are going to be some sick games. Because Powder is a fantastic player, new to DKMR.
I might need to cast an Iron Beak Owl on you if you get a little too worked up. But no, hey, if we're excited about what's happening here, then we know we're doing our jobs. Because I love watching Hearthstone. I love esports. It's the most exciting thing that I can do in my day. And you know, some people find that sad, but I think that this is such a cool game.
I love
and
this
so we're
game.
going to see.
Shout out to Blizzard for making a great game and for making Naxxramas, which kicks ass. Love Naxxramas. Okay,
Totally.
We're into the choosing of the decks, and as you can see, we have some options from both player. Let's wait and see what they pick before we specifically talk about the decks. What would you go here? What would you start with as each player? Well, what do you like? Do you want something like Druid that is kind of like good versus everything? Do you want something like Hunter that's just very overpowered right now in the meta as people think?
So we had D2 just instant locking the Druid, which, like
Druid.
you said, is good pretty much versus anything. The big difference is it's not great versus anything either. It's been one of those really nice consistent classes. I would say similar to Shaman in that it just kind of tries to do its thing, respond to its enemy, but doesn't have just a huge counter. And right now we're going to see that Druid up against
Look at that Druid. Fugin. You know Stalig's in there somewhere. The brothers don't come alone. Ancient of War, Innervate. He gets Wild Growth and Innervate. So you're going to have a coin as well. This is a baller start for the Ramp Druid. I don't think you can come up with anything better than coin, Wild Growth, Innervate. You might even keep this Ancient of War. You probably don't, but you might even consider it.
I would throw away the Ancient of War, but turn 1, you coin Wild Growth. Turn 2, Innervate Fugin. You have a 4/7 out on the board, which is a really hardy minion by itself. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw some decks running Fugin by himself because of how efficient he is in case you go up against a Fugin Stalag combo.
He keeps the Ancient of War. That's how fast he thinks. He gets another Wild Growth. Okay. This Miracle Rogue, as you mentioned earlier, Miracle Rogues aren't that fast. This is going to be tough.
That's super true. And what's important here is he keeps the Ancient of War because what Ancient of War is weakest to up against Rogue is Sap.
Yes.
But if you throw out a turn 2 Fugin, you know the only response to that is also Sap. So if you can get that Sap out early on, then you know you're safe to play some huge cards later in the game, which is exactly the wager he's making. There's that turn 2 Fugin.
And boom,
he throws
goes
out
the
the threat.
Fugin. Yep. The streams aren't quite synced up, guys, but as you can tell, you know, we're going to keep it going just as it is. Sap. Oh, look at that lucky draw into a Sap. Really nice draw. That doesn't just get rid of the Fugin, that gets rid of the Innervate that got the Fugin out. So the Rogue is getting just what he needs to keep himself in the game.
True, and it's definitely a really nice answer, but that's what D2 was kind of betting on when he kept that Ancient of War. Was that there's now only 1 Sap left potentially for Powder.
Yeah. And that's going to be not something you want to deal with when you have our Ancient of War coming out shortly. Looks like we're having a little bit of a stream issue here. Give me 1 second here, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and talk about that wild growth right there.
Yeah.
He had the potential to throw out ThijsNL, but you can save ThijsNL for blocking off some of that damage later, since you know there's only one sap left in the remaining 28 cards in his deck. That wild growth is now going to put you at such a so far ahead in mana that next turn you could go ahead and play your Ancient of War. The turn after, you could throw out Kel'Thuzad, and what on earth is a rogue going to do to answer those huge minions if he only has one more sap in his entire deck? You can throw out all the backstabs, eviscerates, fan of knives, blade flurries you want, and there's no way you'll be able to chunk through all of that.
Yeah. I'm going to try to reload one of the streams real quick. We're having a little bit of an issue here. Let's see if we can't get those streams loaded.
Yeah, it goes to show that right now we're in still a kind of a birthing area of Hearthstone tournaments, but what's so cool is that we have the technology to bring them to you. Oh, look at that! Exactly what we called that Ancient of War. A nice trade from the Fugan.
Wait. Not just yet. Not just yet. Sorry. This is we're trying to get the streams in sync, so we do actually have two specific things. Now comes down the Ancient of War.
I was calling out from the other stream, but now
it's okay. We're getting them synced up as quickly as possible.
Perfect. No,
sorry about that, guys.
And right now, what do you do? You throw down you throw down Lotheb. Lotheb basically heals you for 5 here because you expect the Ancient of War to trade onto you. But you know, Shiv, Eviscerate, and Lotheb can all work together to take him out. But that's 3 cards for this single card. And what he doesn't know, there's a Kel'Thuzad that can come down next turn.
Kel'Thuzad's probably coming out this turn. I really think when you can have a huge taunt like that, one sap down, yeah, why do you not? And here it does. Comes down, nothing to be reincarnated or brought back to life per se, but still, it's going to create problems.
He needs to find this sap with the Shiv. That's really the only way he can save this game. Yeah. So right now, Shiv, prep Eviscerate. Shiv Eviscerate, I mean, it just doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah.
Doesn't kill Kel'Thuzad. Kel'Thuzad has 8 health, and that is a lot to get through.
And he's got 6 attacks, so that means he can't be big game huntered. He doesn't have it can't be black knighted. There's no hex. It's a very interesting setup. A 6/8 minion. Really well thought out by Blizzard to make a absolute nightmare of a minion to deal with behind a taunt.
Right, and right now we can see that nightmare coming to fruition. Yep. He can't afford to take out the Ancient of War by any means because it's going to come back to life with...
Yep.
Does it? Yeah, it comes back to life with 10 health.
10 health. Yeah, it'll come back to life with 10 health.
I was trying to remember exactly how the choose mechanic works. Or does it come back to life with 5 health?
You know what? It might come back to life as a vanilla. Yeah, I think it's going to come back to life as a vanilla.
Okay, so...
Stalag coming down.
5/5 coming down, and now Stalag has just become a Thaddeus factory.
Yeah.
With Kel'Thuzad on the board. It's game. You don't come back from this.
Fugan got killed? I thought it was Sap. It was killed earlier. That's right. It brought back down.
Yeah, Fugan was traded into the Azure Drake after an Eviscerate.
What do you hope to draw here? Sap on Kel'Thuzad? Like, nothing does it. I'm trying to think of what you can do here. Okay, wait, double Eviscerate. That will get, well,
it kills Kel'Thuzad. You still lose the game.
Yeah, prep Kel'Thuzad, and then you, yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe I'm a little bit too negative right here. The Kel'Thuzad was just huge, and now if he can ever get his Stalag killed off, that's going to be a Thaddeus, an 11/11 with 1 sap left in the deck.
I think you have to eviscerate this Kel'Thuzad. Like you can't. Oh my God, he's praying. He's praying for a sap. He gets a gnomish. So, okay, so he's gonna now eviscerate Kel'Thuzad.
Right? Or is he going to? Is he going to eviscerate?
Shadow step his own minion? I'm blown away, confused. Let's see what happens here. Okay, he's got it. Okay, understood. So he commits Sudoku and kills himself. GG. Game 1 goes to D2, taking out Powder.
If that Druid gets the draw, gets the Innervate double wild growth, and is able to step into those power turns one after the other, there's almost no counter to that. You can counter it with Paladin's Equality, or potentially with Hunter's Mark, which is what I expect to see. I expect to see Hunter picked up in its matchup, because one of the only things that can beat a Kel'Thuzad Druid ramp like this, with this amount of ramp, is Hunter. And it looks like that's exactly what we're seeing on this
Actually,
stream.
Shaman can do really well versus it too, although I don't, that's not implying that White Powder or Powder is running a Shaman. But I can say for sure though, now we are saying what do you want to play early? And you're saying particularly that the Druid isn't great in any matchups. I gotta say, the Druid in that Miracle Rogue matchup, it seems like it's built to kill a Miracle Rogue. Don't you agree from what we just saw?
Typically, the sap is huge in that matchup. If you can get the sap early and throw back some of those early innervate turns, which is what we saw. But the fact that those wild growths came out that early, one after the other, was such a nice draw that it's almost impossible to beat that when you're coming from a Miracle Rogue who pretty much only has direct damage.
Yeah. I'm going to try to see if I can get these synced. They're synced up. I'm excited. Yes. Okay.
I'm almost wondering if you keep Ironbeak Owl, and he's even thinking about keeping Buzzard for the combo just because he knows he most likely needs this combo to win.
Mm-hmm. I would keep the Buzzard. I agree.
Because if he doesn't draw into combo here, then what's he going to do differently that he couldn't do with Miracle Rogue? And I think it's almost nothing. He needs the draw mechanic to get those double 100s marks. And if he doesn't draw 200s marks, I don't see him winning this game. Because that... Oh, he's already found one. He's going to be happy about that. Yeah. The freezing trap as well is huge against Ramp Druid, setting them back entirely, not only negating...
Oh, gets an unleash. He really should have maybe considered keeping that hound. Oh, and he gets a Buzzard.
He finds it. He can't throw it away.
Wow.
And no matter how much you want to turn 200 Creeper, you don't throw away a Buzzard.
Yeah, because then it only leaves one more in your deck. Not only does it not give it to you, it prevents you from possibly ever getting the other one because one's down. Wow.
Yeah, the other one could be at the bottom of your deck, and at that point,
please
your draw
do not
mechanic
keep the
is gone.
Creeper. Please do not keep the Creeper. Like I am. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
I think the entire Earth just got pushed a little bit in space from the weight of those balls. That is a mighty decision.
Wow.
And we'll see. So what he's doing is he's going to try and apply some early pressure. He has a Houndmaster for what's a really nice Houndmaster Haunted Creeper combo.
Yeah.
It's just exactly like your exasperated size are showing.
It's gonna get silenced by a 4-mana Keeper of the Grove.
That's so true. Silenced and immediately traded out by this Harvest Golem.
Oh my
and I
God.
think that decision sets him back.
I gotta tell you, Powder's down one game. He's making decisions that I think are gonna come back to bite him in the butt, and he's gonna need some talcum powder because he's gonna have a big rash on that ass. This is going to be some bad.
Man.
This is going to be bad. He's doing it. He's coining it. It's about to happen.
Oh, man. He's feeling it. He's feeling it. He's letting the power channel through him. He's preparing his rear for the grand entrance of this Keeper of the Grove.
Oh, my God. He's going to take it. He's going to take it hard, too. Whew.
Oh, man. There it is. There it is. You know, he went for it. I respect it. I also pity him.
Once you make the plan, you get rid of the Buzzard, you have to do this. You can't not, but it's just gonna it's gonna bite him in the ass. There's no other way to say it. Keeper down. Yep, clear that baby, and just say thank you, Powder, for almost handing me game 2. It's not over certainly, but it's a far cry from in Powder's favor here.
That's very true. He does have a nice little efficient answer to the Keeper of the Grove with the 4/3, but that was so much of what he just banged for turns 1 and 2. Everything he set up with the tracking and with the Haunted Creeper just went to waste.
He might he might never get a Buzzard Unleashed combo. That might never happen this game.
And that's going to break him. When you look at how strong this hand is building up and how responsive it is, especially against a Hunter. You have the swipe and you have double Wrath, which are so efficient.
Another Keeper of the Grove.
Like this is the responsive hand of all responsive hands. You can throw out I can't tell if that's it looks like Fugan.
It's Fugan, not Stalag.
Okay, right.
Do you really know the difference by name? You know which is which?
Yeah, Fugan has 4 attack because it's an F, and then Stalag has 7 attack.
You are the man. Thank you, disciple. I am your disciple in this moment. I appreciate that.
I run them in Control Warrior because the Brawl combo is just
so brutal. Yeah, I have him in my Control Warrior too. My control warrior is specifically anti-hunter. It's a little faster than your typical warrior. So it owns the ladder.
Is it a frothing berserker?
No,
control?
I choose the 4/3 charge minions because they mess with the secrets. They totally screw up the secrets.
Okay, all right, I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay,
and
we're gonna see an animal companion here. Makes sense. Oh, Huffer. Okay, I like it. It's got to be face
He puts damage
time.
on the face, but I mean, he's brought his opponent down to 16, which as a hunter you feel pretty good about. But look at these answers. He can wrath one, and he can keeper the other. Wrathing for the draw is pretty nice, and then you clear the board and you set up a nice board yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, it's always that satisfying feeling when the player does exactly what you call. And there it is. All right.
Yep.
Easy peasy. Board control is simple.
Wow. God, Keeper of the Grove is one of the most efficient and amazing minions in the game. A 2/4 with either silence or 2 damage on its battle cry. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if you get that card in arena, it's just
Gets
GG.
a high main, but is 1 mana shy of playing it. Sorry for interrupting you there, just giving the play-by-play.
No.
What would you do here on 5 now?
Animal Companion is usually not a bad play, but here it's not a good play. I mean, Misha will help to keep off a swing. Hover's probably the worst because it trades pretty poorly with the Keeper of the Grove. That'll be Keeper of the Grove taking out 2 Huffers, most likely.
Yeah.
And
1 Keeper for 2 Huffers, that's value.
I mean, he's put
at
on a lot
10
of damage.
health. Wow.
So maybe I should be a little bit more careful with how, GG I've been calling this.
Yeah.
Because our Druid, he has the Sludge Belcher.
He's also exactly. He really needs to I would heal up here, which he agrees. D2 playing it smart. He played an Invitational a few weeks back when he was low health against a hunter, and he also healed up. He took a lot longer to come up with that decision than tonight, where he knew his instant call. But yeah, now at 15 health with 2 potential taunters, one that even makes an additional taunt. High main's coming down, but D2's got all the answers.
Right. That's exactly, when you look at his health, you get a little apprehensive. But there are so many cases, like earlier before, when we saw how much damage came out from the Zoo against the Hunter. Yeah. When you choose to go all for face and you abandon board control, it can come back to bite you, especially against Ramp Druid, which is a king at board control once he gets into these later turns, which he's pretty fast at getting to.
Yeah. I feel like you don't deal with the high main. You just go face with what you've got. What do you think? Because you're going to keep putting out taunters turn after turn after turn. But I guess an Unleash is what you'd be afraid of there.
A little bit. Sludge Belcher is really nice at dealing with Unleash.
But he's got him to 11 health.
Ooh.
Look at this. It's going to be... Oh.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love seeing Hunter thrash like that. It has nothing to do with the players. It's just the class itself. So Silence is excellent here.
Yep.
But it doesn't win him the game quite yet.
No, and I think you have to clear here. You will die otherwise.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to die if you don't clear. So the high main's not going face here.
Right. But he doesn't know. So he might have to play here like there's no swipe and no Druid of the Claw in his opponent's hands.
Right.
It's dangerous because he hasn't seen either of those, so he knows that's 4 potential cards that can instantly win the game.
So he will lose, but he's assuming if he goes face with high main that the Belcher won't hit, so that damage won't get down. But yeah, the Druid of the Claw or the swipe end the game here. And any taunt that comes down would have died to a Black Knight. Druid has this locked up. Okay, he is playing to stay alive. I think this is smarter. He's going to die anyway, but I think
just like you said, he can't go to face. If he went to face, it would set up the win next turn potentially with a Unleash Hunter's Mark. He can't know what's in his opponent's hands, so he's
the 3 attacks going to get brought back into hand. That's 4 from Fugin, 4 from Swipe, and 4 from the Druid of the Claw. That is 12 if I can do math. So here we have an end to game number 2, and D2 has taken a 2-0 lead versus our champion Powder. Incroyable.
He's had a strong showing tonight. Had a bit of a rough time. Went back and forth with Tice for a couple of games there. They took it out to 5, and now we're really hoping that Powder can show a stronger showing. I mean, he was just taken down as Hunter. What does he take against this Druid now? Because Hunter is usually what you want to pick up against Druid because you have that Hunter's Mark, because you might have a deadly shot in there as well. What beats Druid?
What beats Druid? Well, white powder is choosing between a
warrior and warlock.
Yes.
And so, yep,
and I don't want to get into the specifics yet until it's chosen, but warrior can deal with big threats all over the place. And with the new Death Spite combo with your Acolyte for the card draw and the Unstable Ghoul combo for the card draw, yeah, you've got a Brawl to deal with a lot of. If a ton of stuff comes out, I like the Warrior here. I think it's better than the Warlock.
I agree. If your opponent overextends too far with Kel'Thuzad, then a Brawl can immediately level the playing field.
I played Kel'Thuzad in my Warrior. This Warrior's not playing a Kel'Thuzad, just now that the deck has been chosen. What do you think about that?
What I meant was...
I know you meant. I know you meant the Druid. I'm just saying, I'm surprised... Wait a second. No, it's not a Warrior. Okay.
Okay. You went
I
for the
spoke
Warlock.
too soon. No more information to be said about that particular deck.
And it's another Zoo. Zoo that's much slower than the original strain that we saw popularized by our Temper Storm captain. But it's been very strong. It can have trouble chipping through a lot of health though, and that is going to be the game here. You have to race down this Druid because if you wait too long and you let those Ancients of War Kel'Thuzad combos come out,
this Zulok does have one power overwhelming Void Terror for a possible devastating combo on any minion like the Nerubian Egg or something like that, which he's got. It's also running one Lotheb and your typical 2 Doom Guards, 2 Dark Ions, 2 Defenders. This has actually got some lasting power in it with a Lotheb.
Very true. The Zoos had to slow down a lot because of the prevalence of some really solid taunt minions and just the general stickiness that Naxxramas brought along. And so Lowe's cards exactly like Lotheb have slowed it down a little bit, but still, you have to throw in a lot to take out an Ancient of War. You need a lot of attack buffs. You need a power overwhelming plus, a couple of Dark Iron Dwarves to get through it.
You can play Owls for silence, and that brings it down to a 5/5, but he is not, so that's not going to happen here.
And that's that might be a bit of an issue right here. We see the Wrath on the Echoing Ooze, which never feels too good. Spending 2 mana to take out a tauntless Goldshire Footman. But it does help to even out the board a little bit. We're going to see some nice trades coming out of this Harvest Golem as well, which is why it's in there. But overall, what feels like a pretty solid start for this Zoo, throwing out quite a bit on the board.
Yeah. And we've got just going face here because, as you said, he has to get him down to a reasonable place. Oh my god. Look, I have a feeling we're going to see it. Yep, he's doing more work tonight. The Keeper of the Grove.
MVP for this Druid so far. Just the raw efficiency now. Now Keeper of the Grove is going to be able to take out...
Ooh. Did you see what he drew?
The Void Terror. He can't play it.
No, but he can play it next turn. If he does Nerubian and a... Okay, he can Defender. I was thinking Nerubian with one of the Wolves. But I can see the Defender here. It'll make it hard for him to survive.
Oh, we see some Unleash the Hounds going on in the background. And going for face. When you can hit the face, why not? Alright, so a little bit of face action right here, and it appears that our switcheroo back and forth is currently taking a little bit of a stall, but it's alright because Druid's going to go ahead and make his selection as he considers the Innervate. Nope, throws out the Fugan, which will be a nice sticky minion out here on the board. Do we have Kobayashi back with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome back.
Did you lose me?
Oh, I think so. I couldn't hear you for a while.
Okay.
I heard a dog barking. All right.
There was definitely a dog in the house.
All right.
I like keeping the Innervate. Next turn he's going to Innervate out Kel'Thuzad if this whole board doesn't get cleared. But it looks like it mostly will be.
He does have Fugan, which will not die too easily, but be really nice for trading. I don't know that he goes for the Kel'Thuzad if he doesn't have anything that dies immediately. If you don't get the...
no, you don't. I don't think you do. You can Rag, though, although I don't think that's great either. Ancient of Lore... Man.
You have Swipe. You have Swipe, which will be pretty good. It'll take out a minimum of 2 which is
actually you can swipe in hero power, and you can clear everything but the new ribbon, which you want to keep intact.
Right, and that'll be nice. And then when you decide to pop the new ribbon, you have a Fugan for a really efficient trade. I think that's probably the likely play. Just go ahead and swipe onto the Flame Imp. I would have swiped the Flame Imp, since then he uses his hero power for the Direwolf.
Yeah, for the Direwolf, and then you use
take one
the
less
Fugan
damage
on the other one. Yeah.
Or I was gonna say Fugan face.
Yep. Oh, Fugan face? Okay,
Yeah,
Fugan face.
he notices that was a mistake. He has took an extra damage to the face, but it's no worries. It's no worries, guys. It's probably not going to make a difference. If it does, though, we will knock him.
Biggest misplay of the night from D2 is putting him in a fantastic spot to take this best of 7 here.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He's looking strong right here. There's the Void Terror coming out. But you know, you have a 3-5, you have a 3-4, and you have a 4-4. And none of those things do a great job at killing a 4-7.
No. God. Yeah, like this. Look at the indecision. Because he doesn't have a good choice to make. That's the problem here. Wow.
It's nice that it brings either of them out of Fugan range, but
oh my God,
the Fire Lord.
Oh my God. Innervate coming down. Rag coming out. What will Rag hit? That's the question.
There it is. Okay.
5-5.
All right. Sniper Rag for the new.
Oh, Ghost Face. That might not have been the best thing there. That might have been this. Well, probably better than the 3-2. But you really want to go. You really want to get rid of that 6-5 or 5-5. Now an 8-5. Oh my God. Rag is going down unless he goes face because he can't finish it off.
Is he considering going face?
No, he's gonna trade. He's gonna trade.
Okay.
I think that's really smart. Really smart.
Man.
Actually,
look at that.
This Naxxramas just took board control and will be drawing 2 cards per turn if he chooses. Unless we get a taunt minion like a Sludge Belcher, which is just drawn. But you know what? With 19 health, Druid might not even do it. He might play that Ancient Allure as he just did.
Yeah, getting through the Sludge Belcher and the Sunwalker. You know, that was a huge turn for Powder, and he's feeling really happy about that. But if he could see his opponent's hand, he wouldn't quite feel so confident knowing that he has got a lot of taunts to get through. He's bringing his opponent low, but there's 5 healing, there's a Divine Shield, and now what looks like 17 health worth of taunts from his hand.
Yeah, of which 7 is on the board. If you're talking attack damage, if you're talking health, that's 12. 12 taunt health on the board. Not even Doomguard can get through that.
Doomguard's an excellent card to draw here, and it's the card that helps you win the most. But actually
he can clear all the taunt, but he can't do the lethal. I don't think. Let's see. He'll be shy on lethal. So that's gonna put him in a really good spot. He can innervate 12. What could you do for 12 here? You could do Sunwalker.
I think you Sunwalker hero power the doggy, and then your Sunwalker kills the rest of what's on the board.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh man, they're just messing each other back and forth, having a bit of fun. Some teammates towards each other, learning the strengths and weaknesses of both decks.
Huh. All right. Well,
I don't think you need to innervate this turn. I think Sunwalker doggy is easy. Unfortunately, no lethal, even though he does only have 7 health all over on the Warlock. No charging coming in here, so don't you even start with me, Twitch chat. But man, even if there was a single Force of Nature, this will be his game immediately. I still think he has a pretty good shot at it.
This Druid's not running Force of Nature or Savage Roar.
Right. The typical straight ramp Druid doesn't need it to finish games because you have so many high attack, sticky creatures. A couple Druids have run it in the past for... the ramp is more of a stay alive feature, and then you finish with an explosive turn. But here you can see you don't need it. You were able to do a lot of damage without the combo.
So he's gonna bring down both minions though, choosing to make it a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like your play better. Although Thaddeus is going to come out real soon if something stays alive.
Yeah, this one is the more aggressive play.
Oh,
it helps win
a Soulfire.
faster.
That plus the Defender, the Dark Iron might be enough damage here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, not quite.
So if you could keep the attack buff from the wolf, he would have lethal right here, right now.
Yeah.
You could wolf in to take out the divine shield.
Yeah. You would then use your 5 attack minion.
He's 2 damage off. He's 2 damage off lethal.
Yeah.
If he soul fires the divine shield, attacks him with Dark Iron Dwarf, and attacks him with his board, he's 2 damage off lethal. So I guess you have to throw out Soulfire. You tap and you hope you draw an Abusive Sergeant, your second Soulfire. He's Soulfiring face, which doesn't make. What's he hoping for?
I guess another Soulfire.
Okay, he's rubbing his deck. Mortal
Echoing
Coil.
Ooze.
Echoing Ooze does not win the game. Oh man, he didn't rub his deck the right way.
Yeah.
Come on, you gotta show it a little bit more
clockwise, not counterclockwise. Never works clockwise, guys.
Okay. You know, it's these things that separate the good from the great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
God.
Is he going to die the glorious? No, you need to die to Thaddeus. When you can die to Thaddeus, you die to Thaddeus.
Well played. Okay. So, Powder is down. 3-0. 1 deck left. The deck is called #Believe. And I gotta ask you, do you believe this can 4-0 D2? Because I don't. But I'm excited to see it.
I think this warrior stands a chance. I think that Brawl is an insanely valuable card up against a ramp druid when he gets 2 or 3 minions out there. Preferably 3 or more, of course. The only nightmare is that you Brawl and Kel'Thuzad survives, and you just hit yourself.
Yeah, you say thank you, buddy. I'll see you at our next team meeting, you bastard.
Warrior's my most hated class right now. Earlier today, I was up against Gara on the ladder, and I misclicked my hero power and missed lethal because of his stupid shield or armor smith.
You misclicked your hero power for lethal.
I clicked next to my hero power. I wasn't really paying attention because I was just kind of laughing on stream and stuff. And I swing in and I forgot to click it, and I lost the game.
For shame.
So I wouldn't hate to see Warrior lose, but you know what? I don't want to see a 4-0 here. I think that we can see a swing back from Powder.
I'm really excited that D2 is about to take over the best of 7, winning $25 on top of that, and showing fantastic games. But I would like to see a couple more games at least.
And this will increase the stakes for next week, correct? Because DKMR is claiming their rightful spot.
Bounty, no matter what. Yeah, it will be. You can go through the mulligan. It will be $225 for the best of 7, plus $25 for the best of 5. So 6-0, I believe, is playing next week. We'll be playing for a potential $250 total.
Excellent. I think Zixo is going to be an excellent contender. One of the fastest legenders known on the scene.
Yeah, and you know, as we've seen, DKMR has some fantastic pros showing their wares on this Invitational, how well they can compete against the best of the best. Every top player in the world they want to have on here. If you're the best in the world, they want to have you here. So if you're watching and you're interested, you should talk to the team and come on one of our next Invitationals. They're every Thursday night.
I think it's so cool. Okay, so right now I think what we're going to see is Coin Innervate charge into Armor Smith. It's a bit risky, but it negates the Armor Smith's value right here. The issue is there's a Fiery War Axe, a Fiery Wind Axe even in Powder's hand, which would negate that. So he's making the choice right now. He did forego the Innervate Harvest Golem turn 1, which is usually a pretty easy decision on Druid, but because he had the coin and a nice 5-drop, he saved it. He could taunt. So what do you think? Do you taunt up? Do you charge?
Versus Warrior.
How much do you respect their ability to deal 3 damage with Fiery War Axe?
Oh, I do. I respect it.
A lot?
But I still might charge. Because, like, you just don't want to let him armor up forever. Like, letting this minion die now prevents a ton of armor in the long run, which will potentially kill your minions. So knowing it might die, I might still do this.
Okay, so you called it. That's exactly what I expected might happen at first. And what he's going to fear is this Fiery War Axe coming out for some huge
I mean, you always hope the War Axe isn't there, but not only is all the armor gone, he's down a couple points of health. Really good start. It did take a minion a coin and an innervate, though. But I think you've got to play fast if you're going to attempt to beat a warrior, a control warrior. And D2 knows the matchup. So here it is. Gets another innervate. Sorry to interrupt. Gets another innervate.
You go ahead. You go right ahead. So I think Control Warrior just has the perfect responses right now. Cleave isn't going to be very strong up against this Ramp Druid, but things like Death's Bite, Shield Slam, Sylvanas, Grom, these are all going to be some beautiful responses.
Yeah, we're going to probably see a turn 5 Ancient of Lore, unless, okay, forget what I just said. I believe that was a Wild Growth coming down.
Bro, that was turn 4 for him, so he didn't quite have the mana. He just ramped up to his own 5 mana turn.
Okay.
But yeah, it would have been nice to have a little bit more to follow up such an early explosive Druid at the Claw start. And that's one of the dangers of Ramp Druid is you throw out your innovates early, you get an early start, it gets shut down, and then you don't have anything to follow up. He got the Harvest Golem, but he didn't play anything that turn. He Wild Growth and he Hero Powered. On turn 4, that feels like a pretty weak play up against a class that can deal enormous damage come late game with Ragnaros,
and
with
we've got
Grom.
7 armor now on the Warrior. 27 life total effective. But, okay, you could bring down Fugan. Yeah, I don't think you want to innervate here out to the lore because you're now at 6 mana because you got the Wild Growth. So, man, I mean, it definitely makes sense to Wild Growth so that you're ahead 1 mana moving forward and you've got Innervate. You really have to hope you can push forward very quickly and use your 1 mana advantage and your Innervate to get something out. Because you're right, the Warrior's coming back strong with... yeah, if you're going to attack, you want to attack before you play the minion. That's 7 damage. Ugh. I guess you Shield Slam here, right? Whoa! Hold it.
You can take 7. Oh, come on. Come on, you can take 7 damage to your face. He has 20 health. He's
but
not
now
afraid.
his Shield Slam's useless.
He has another shield block.
Oh my god. Okay,
you
guys are a level above. I would have not done that.
I'm along with him. Your health is nothing but a resource that you use to crush your enemies with.
I agree, but your armor is a valuable resource that I would not have killed when I have yeah.
Shield Slam is incredibly efficient. You're right.
Oh.
You know,
you saved the weapon, which would have now killed this Ancient of Lore with attack plus the proc. I'm sorry, man. I'm holding fast.
All right, Kobe. You were right. You were right here.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been wrong many a time. Okay. 8 mana. Whew.
He wraths it. And now he has a really nice trade against the Sylvanas. What he can't do is play anything besides the Sludge Belcher. I think Sludge Belcher wouldn't be the worst because Sylvanas, or same with Tazzingo. Sludge Belcher, Tazzingo, because then Sylvanas.
Tazzingo saves your Innervate, right? Which means you can possibly do some Cenarius. Oh no, you can't. You got everything. Cenarius, what? No, it won't work. Okay. Still though. Wow.
The cleave. So he was able to get a pretty nice cleave since that Ancient of Lore was left at 2 health. And so that'll be delicious. And now he has, a nice 5-attack creature on the board that's really, really effective at taking out cards like Ancient of Lore.
Had that Ancient of Lore already attacked and couldn't attack Sylvanas? Or did he go face? Did I, miss that?
The Ancient of Lore, it took out the Sludge Belcher.
Got it. Okay. Okay, Cenarius seems like an optimal play, and their other option would be a sort of a swipe Belcher kind of thing, but that's dangerous because it doesn't clear it. Okay, Cenarius coming down because Sylvanas won't be able to kill itself on...
It's true. Unless you armor up, Shield Slam, attack, and then cross your fingers that you steal the 5/8. That's so YOLO.
Yes, that is actually, that's very YOLO.
Or wait, no, just kidding. You don't have to YOLO.
Oh, right, you can use your weapon, right?
The other 2/2. You use your weapon to take out this 2/2.
You don't even have to armor up because of 1 damage from the Death's Bite. Oh!
It's delicious.
It's not YOLO, that's give me your Cenarius. That's what that is.
Oh man, easy peasy. He has the perfect armor to do this.
Okay, wait, apparently I was wrong about that Shield Slam. Completely wrong.
Okay. Okay, there it is. He gets to draw a card, steal a 5/7 Cenarius,
5-8.
And he's got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. And the card draw. The plays. Powder's not going down without a fight. The plays.
Oh, give me that. He throws down the Loatheb, so there's absolutely no response besides trying to
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cards in his hand cannot be played now, or at least cannot be played efficiently.
That's big.
That was the biggest swing turn I have almost ever seen on the Invitational.
Ooh, that's good.
Period.
You know, that's the kind of exciting thing that we come out here. Hearthstone. He's going to go ahead and silence up that Acolyte so it can't draw anymore. But he doesn't have any way to deal with these huge 5-attack minions who love to eat a Sludge Belcher for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, he has Grom. He doesn't have a way to activate Grom, but he might. Is he just going to use the slime to activate Grom and just have a board full? Because what does Druid do against a board full except pull out the insane poison seeds?
Not being played. Double swipe maybe.
Double swipe might be very, very necessary here.
Yeah, double swipe's going to have to come down. And if he doesn't trade, Mark on the Wild too, for good measure. I think you do trade here, though. Okay. Grom's coming down.
Oh, he's making his decisions. You know, Grom makes for an efficient trade. You've got a 10-7 on the board. And a double swipe takes care of it. But double swipe does leave the Sludge Belcher and the Scenarios alive.
Yep. A Black Knight. Oh my god. He can use Black Knight and the Mark of the Wild. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And he can innervate out a swipe on top of it. He can innervate a swipe on top of the Mark.
Ooh, on the Scenarios. That's good. That's good. Yep. You are entirely right. Okay.
It's coming down. Everything that was just good is now gone except Loatheb, and he silenced. These games are fantastic. I am rewatching this series when I have a chance. Oh my god.
I mean, Druid had a good response. He brought along the hard removal that Druid usually lacks because Naturalize is a terrible card by bringing that Mark of the Wild combo, which is just so powerful. And
that silence has kept the Warrior down to 3 not so great cards in this particular situation.
You attack. You can attack, execute the Black Knight.
I mean, you might not though, considering that this is a ramp Druid. The Black Knight is not the scariest thing you're gonna see.
That's true. That's true. It's just a question of, do I try and win faster, or do I try and respond to his threats
with 12 health? Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right. I think right now he's probably safe keeping it.
He can do 9 damage on this turn, right? Or did he already attack with Loatheb?
He did attack with Loatheb.
Okay, so he can't. Okay, then no. Then yeah, you gotta trade it. You gotta get rid of it.
Yeah, you definitely throw the Acolyte because the Acolyte's gonna die if you throw out Unstable Ghoul regardless.
Yeah, the Acolyte has to die before. He's gonna do it. So this is interesting. You know what? With the Brawl, I think this is the right play. Let's say he brings out something crazy scary. You run your minion, you run the minion in, and then you Brawl. YOLO, it's tricky. Okay, here's the Ancient of War probably coming down. No reason to bring out Kel'Thuzad at this point.
Yeah, you're very right. And you know what? This is what you were saying about keeping that execute. This is what he was afraid of. Yeah. It was just the play, do I win faster or do I respond to my enemy's threats more effectively? And it turned out to potentially be a risky play since drawing double Unstable Ghoul on turns 12 and 13 it's gonna feel pretty rough.
Oh my god. Yeah. This is back and forth. This is great.
Unstable Ghouls are really, really good at killing your own minions here too.
I know.
Because like swipe hero power will bring your Loatheb down to like a 5-1. I think he might just want to try and trade off his Loatheb. No, I don't even know. He doesn't have a great answer.
He's thinking about swiping the Loatheb too, which is interesting.
Okay.
And then if you hero power the 1/1, no, it doesn't really work out that way. You can't hero power either of these to get rid of them.
Yeah, you just attack the 1/2 with your Ancient of War, and then hit face, and you've got a 5/10. You've got a Kel'Thuzad, and you have brought this game back around from that Black Knight play.
And you hit face with the 1. I think that makes sense.
Ooh, Taz didn't go over Kel'Thuzad, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Not a.
Wait.
So you Cruel Taskmaster and you brawl.
Yeah, I guess so.
You brawl and then you cry when the Kel'Thuzad comes out next turn.
I was wondering if you would brawl before dropping it down, but I guess you want to have that one chance of maybe your one guy surviving. Okay, it's a brawl. And no! Oh, Ancient of Lore comes up short. Powder. Ah.
Sorry about that. I think that emote is used in no better way than right now, where this Druid is very likely to take the series with Kel'Thuzad, Ancient of War.
4-0 Druid D2. What do you want to say to that? Other than, I can't wait for the interview.
Other than, I'm gonna chill on the ladder for a couple days, because I don't know that I can deal with the Ramp Druid.
GG. Okay, so we're gonna have a winner's interview. Unfortunately, Tice, it was like 4 a.m. where he lives, so we will not have him on. I just recently heard that, but we are gonna have an interview with our winner. Thank you so much for watching what has been a fantastic number 11 of our DKMR Invitational. Big shout out to Disciple for stepping in and stepping up. This has been a great show, a great game. Really appreciate it. Let's get that going.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys so much for the invite. Coming out here is a lot of fun. I assume that it's just going to be you in the interview.
No, you're staying on.
Oh, well, I'll stick around then.
You won't be visible, but you'll be. We can hear you.
Oh, no.
D2.
Goodbye, friends.
I mean,
I'll miss you.
All right, here we go. I need to get an interview overlay so that we're like back on. Hello? Oh, let's see here. PNG cards. Kill the streams.
All right, so I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen that convincing of a performance out of a Ramp Druid before. That was just exceptional.
Yeah. You know, D2, there's the man. You know, I was just going to say, DKMR is known for their Druid play, and D2 showed it in flying colors here. How do you feel, buddy?
I feel good after being basically where, what's your name again? Disciple? Being where Disciple is most of the time. Now I'm in the winner's circle, so yeah, it feels pretty good.
Dude, you said you're feeling good, you're looking good, your plays, I think you had one misplay, which is you took an extra point of damage when you did some clear. That's about all we saw. Otherwise, and that's just a joke, because really, flawless play tonight. You 4-0'd Powder, and you took out a Hunter with a Shaman and a Paladin, a Control Paladin with a Shaman. My God. Talk to me about this.
I know you love Shaman, so that was for you, Cody.
Dude, I'm playing your Shaman. I have the sickest Nax Shaman, but I'm putting him down for a couple days. I'm playing your Shaman. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I was actually pretty confident going into the game with the Shaman, because I know, just like with the oozes, you can get so much damage out, and including the bloodlust, you can really just burst them down. So I was pretty confident going into that match. I wasn't really sure what to expect with the Paladin. As for your statement before, I have to disagree with you a little bit. There were a few more misplays that I had.
Okay. Let's wait a minute before we talk about those, because we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We will get into those. Let's talk. What did you think was your best matchup and your worst matchup?
My best matchup and my worst matchup. You mean the decks that I was playing versus? Yeah.
Where did you feel weaker? Where did you feel stronger?
I was really psyched about my Shaman coming into this game. We were actually playing some practice games. White Powder, or sorry, not White Powder, just Powder now. Powder and I earlier.
What makes it so strong? I'm looking at the deck. It seems like it's old tech with a couple new things. You've got the Unbound, the Defenders, the Bloodlust plus Alakir and a Rockbiter, but we never saw those combos out. What did you think makes it so strong?
Ooze is OP. Really? Basically, so like there's no 2-cost minion that summons a token other than like the Murloc Tide Color, right? So, and those are just really easy to kill. So like the fact that it has 1 extra health, you could just sit there and you can poke off little 1/1s, and it just stays there for a long time, and then eventually you can just buff them with your Flame Tongue. You buff them with your Defender.
Yeah.
Even in the late game, there's like the Dream. You could go well, maybe not the Druid, but it's kind of cool. You could go double ooze and then defender and have 5/2/3s on the board.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's money. Talk to me about having both Alakir and Bloodlust. Obviously, the Bloodlust works with the ooze, but you've kept Alakir. Yeah, talk to me about that.
it was kind of a balance. At first, I was trying to go for like a super, like just face rush deck with Reincarnate and then you know Leroy. But I was like, okay, it needs to be more stable.
Yeah. And
Alakir is just like a solid call overall. Like you never, unless you see Alakir on like turn 2 or 3, you're never really that sad to see him. You know?
Right, right. And but you've got a Doomhammer too. How do you deal with? I mean, it sounds like you're using the ooze, the ferals, the lightning storm, and the defenders on the totems to deal with the early aggro from, let's say, Hunter or let's say Zoolock.
Yeah, exactly. So you're basically just against Hunter in particular. You're mulliganing for Ursoc to get rid of all those buffs and things like the I can't remember the names. The one that draws a beast and the hunted creeper. Right. Stuff like that. Also getting rid of the buff from Hound Mastery. So you get that out, and basically you just get enough damage to win. Through if you draw Bloodlust, the game might just end. And worst case scenario, if you have 2 things on the board, Bloodlust is already 6 damage for 5 mana, which is like almost a Leroy. Right. And there's no real drawback. So I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just really nice.
Okay, you want to talk about your misplays? I'll give you an opportunity. Go for it.
The biggest misplay I did was when I dropped Cenarius down with Sylvanas on the board. Like right when I did that, I realized I could have gone Swipe, Hero Power, Innervate, Sludge Belcher, which would have been a lot better because I didn't have any. I mean, getting rid of a Sylvanas and not having to give up anything is really nice. And then I would have with the Innervate, I could have just gone a Sludge Belcher on the board, so I'm not really losing tempo that way.
It's interesting because there was 2 or 3 turns where it swung way into Powder's favor and then way back into your favor. It made for great show. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about Miracle Rogue, and they can have these huge turns, but sometimes you just throw down an Ancient of War and they can't deal with it, and it just completely flips the game around.
That's exactly what we were talking about, how when you drew out that early sap with your Fugin against that Miracle Rogue, that just dismantles them when you have the follow-up of double Wild Growth of Ancient of War. That was amazing.
That was exactly what I was thinking, yeah. It was like, okay, like even if he saps this, okay, it's like, okay, the sap trades for the Innervate, so it's not terrible for him, but I'm looking at my hand, I have Ancient of War. He's like, well, how's he going to deal with this? So
yeah, because you kept Ancient of War on turn 1, which was why I thought that's exactly why you looked forward to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And all this was made possible because D2 was practicing with his teammates today, and if you guys aren't familiar, if you do not know who D2 is, you do not know this team, it is Don't Kick My Robot. You should follow them on Twitter at Don't Kick My Robot. Their YouTube is Don't Kick My Robot. The VOD of this will be there. Don't Kick My Robot, all spelled out. And D2, you want to give a little shout out? We're not done yet, but do you want to say thank you to anyone other than Powder for helping you with these decks?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to also obviously Powder, thanks to Brad who was helping me as well today. Kisser is always there as well. Bran is our Coach Poach, Turbo Swim, Rokisha. I think it's everyone, right?
Nice. And, nice.
And yeah, and also I want to thank our sponsors. You guys can do that.
Yeah. No, let's talk about this. You are the DKMR. You are now the defender. You are standing in the way of the money. It's quite a bit of money now. That's 3 weeks in a row, $225. You're looking strong. You're feeling good, I'm assuming, right now. How do you feel about defending for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks? What do you think? What are you thinking?
I feel pretty confident. I mean, hopefully my teammates just take out guys in the first round. But I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident about my play. A couple missed plays today aside. Although today, we didn't talk about this, but I mean, I had some pretty ridiculous draws. Powder isn't too happy about some of the draws I came up with. So, but yeah, I mean, I felt like I played pretty decently against Thijs, and I was able to use, the draws that I got against Powder to my advantage. So. Yeah,
we haven't even talked about the fact that you beat Thijs. Hello, anyone that is a 9-time King of the Hill winner, won more tournaments than I can actually list off. How do you feel about that? Talk to me seriously.
It feels good. I mean, obviously, he's a nice guy, so it's not like beating someone who's super BM. It's like, yeah, I got him. But I feel it's a pretty good accomplishment for me. And yeah, I mean, and that honestly, that was kind of like how I thought. This is like one of like the permutations of like how this match might go out. It's like, okay, my shaman like basically comes back because I was really confident in the shaman going in. I think I made a couple mistakes. I mean, obviously I made a mistake with a mulligan with the miracle rogue, thinking that it was going to be handlock, but yeah. Other than that, like I think I played decently, and yeah, I'm pretty happy about it.
Disciple, you have any questions for D2, our champion?
You know what? I guess I wanna know what makes Ramp Druid so strong right now, because it seems like it seems like the meta has just gotten so much faster. It seems like so many decks that tried to wait too many turns just lose. But you just showed us such a dominating turn against aggro decks like Hunter and like Zoo, and against the Miracle Rogue, which everyone was whining about for so long. Just what makes Ramp Druid so powerful?
Okay, so I'm gonna do like disclaimer right here. So when I entered with a Druid, I was just trying to steal like maybe a win or two. Actually just one win, because I felt like my other decks were super strong. That's part of the reason why I didn't run Ramp Druid. So I kind of like want to not answer that question by not answering. I don't think it's that strong.
Okay.
But the thing is with the meta, there's so many classes that just like kind of are countering each other right now. It's a really like circular meta right now. We have you have hunters that are just they can kind of get beaten by warriors and certain priests, and then you have like the ramp druid who just kills that. So basically, I'm looking at the ramp druid. It's like it'll kill some of the decks that are killing some of the more that are dealing with some of the more like fast decks in the meta. And also,
go ahead.
I mean, if you're talking about like, super fast decks, if you have like, Zoo or maybe even like a face deck, as long as you get like one big, huge minion up, like a lot of times you're fine. So there is that in order to combat, the super fast decks. But as far as the mid-range decks, it is a little bit unfavored. So I don't want to say that Druid is like the best deck out there. So.
Well, you did draw Wild Growth pretty often in the earlier games. I don't think you did in the last game as much, but you got. I remember one game we were Disciple and I were like, this is like the dream. It was like Innervate, Wild Growth, and Fugan, right, or Stalag. Like what more do you ask for? You kept the Ancient of War. I was making a joke. I'm like, he can keep the Ancient of War if he wants to. And Disciple's like, I'll probably throw it back. And then boom, you kept it. And I was like,
no, I said he's keeping it to bait out the sap, which is exactly what D2.
Is that what you said? No. Once he kept it, you definitely said that.
Okay.
You definitely said once he kept it. I'm only, I'm not giving you shit, Disciple. You've been fantastic, calling every play. But I do particularly remember us thinking he was going to mulligan it. Either way, it's a pretty strong keep, a confident keep.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a little bit risky, but I felt like that's the biggest taunt in my deck, and I actually only run one. If you were, I don't know if you told the viewers that, but
I did not tell him you run one. I do see that now, actually.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason, is that that's the biggest thing, and that's the one thing that Rogue they just can't deal with if they don't have sap. Yeah. So I mean that was basically I was kind of hoping, but at the same time, I had so much ramp that at some point I'll probably pick up a 4-drop, I'll probably pick up a 5-drop by the time I get there to stand the tide. And once I throw that down, if he has no answer and I bait it out with Fugan, then I'm pretty well off. So
we didn't get to see your other decks except for in the first grouping of first match series, but I'm looking at this Druid deck, and I see some things in there. You've got the one Sunwalker. It looks like you kind of did build a nice ramp. Like you didn't go 2 Ancients of War. You put in the Sunwalker. Is that a nod to how quick the meta is and needing to be able to deal with that?
Yeah, pretty much. You can't just be like, okay, throw in 8,000 8-drops and like I hope I draw my ramp, Yeah. So I think like Fugan and Stalag are pretty nice because they feel rampy, they feel like big giant minions, but they're still only 5-drops. And then if you get them out, they have to it really causes problems for your opponents. So yeah, basically that was pretty much exactly what you're saying. I'm just trying to make the curve a little bit lower so I'm not so much in trouble, and it worked out today because I was able to get those 5-drops out. And also, the one thing that's weird about Druid at the moment is like you don't really know what to do with Druid the Claw these days. It's a nice 5-drop, but like, do I put it in charge? Do I put it in taunt? And sometimes you can just bypass that and say, like, I'm gonna play Fugan. That's a threat. You have to deal with it, and I can just play Druid the Claw when I know what I want to do with it.
Yeah. Fugan's the 4/7, right? Not the 7/4.
Yes.
Yeah,
Fugan's correct. Disciple is So
Come on,
Fugin's a good one. Stalag.
Fugen for 4.
Fugen 4, Stalag 7.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So if you draw Stalag, you throw it back, right? Because it's just so much easier to get rid of.
Well, I mean, I would throw Fugen back too if I didn't have any ramp or I wasn't going second. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, Stalag. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would probably agree with you there. I don't think I want to keep Stalag. He's just too easy. You just, you know, you can kill command him. You can swipe him. You can, if you really wanted to, you could wrath and hit with your face. But,
nice.
But yeah.
Well, again.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna just say congratulations again. I want to give you guys both an opportunity to give some shout outs. I'll let you go first, champion, Mr. D2.
Yeah. So I shout out all my teammates. Actually, one of them is streaming right now, and that's Brad. So you can go over to I think it's twitch.tv/BradHS.
He is Cenarius himself. You should check him out.
Yeah, he is Cenarius. I can't even think of what scenario says, but that's what Brad says. And also, I will be streaming. Like, I've been streaming at all lately, but I am going to be a lot more active. So if you guys want to, check me out, you can go to twitch.tv/IMD2, and I will be streaming like pretty much every weekday, starting next week. And also, my Twitch is my Twitter is DKMR_D2. And what else do we have? I feel like when I did the show with you, I had like all these sponsors.
I know. The YouTube, check out DKMR's YouTube. It's where this video will be, and all that. Okay, and let me switch this up and get Disciple in here. Let's see. Can I do this? No, I can't really get you on screen. Oh wait, there I can get you on screen. All right, Disciple, shout outs. Thank you so much for coming on. By the way.
Hey, it's been so much fun. Big shout out to DKMR for having me. I was really happy to be invited here. I love casting Hearthstone. Been in the casting scene for esports for about a year and a half, and I'm not too affiliated with anyone. If you guys want to check out more from me, I stream every single day, usually for about 8 or 9 hours over at twitch.tv/DiscipleGames. You can also check me out on Twitter and Facebook at the exact same tag, Disciple Games. Thank you so much for hosting me. Thank you so much for putting on a good show here, and it was a really fun tournament to be a part of. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you to both of you as well for Powder and for Tice.
I didn't think Tice. Sorry, thanks Tice.
Yeah.
Thanks Tice for coming on.
Thanks Tice. For yet another great invitational. We do this every week. I believe next week is 6-0. We've got he's en route now, as the case may be. Yeah, check out Brad HS on twitch.tv. You can check me out on my Twitter at Kobayashimaru, on my Twitch at Kobayashimaru. I'm running Shaman, Warrior, Mage, and now Druid, as I will be shortly. And you can also check out my YouTube, which is CNEGRIN, CNegrin, and that's got abridged versions of these tournaments with a lot of the games and some of the fun commentary. And thank you to all of our sponsors: Hearth2P, Waypoint Media, Hearthstats, Gunner, Hearthstone Players, Make Me a Dragon, iHeartU, Soulfire's Masters. I hope I'm going to be in good enough health and shape to start redoing Masterclass, but I don't know when that would be. All of those are on iHeartU if you're interested in checking them out. And thank you to Poach for putting together this team in this invitational. And anyone else I forgot, thank you. The viewers, all of you. Give a shout out to D2. Give a shout out to DKMR. Give a shout out to 2P. Let them know you liked the event and what your thoughts were on it. And we will see you next week. Same time, same place. Anybody mind if I roll need?
Good night, guys.
See ya.